Consideration that the war chest got spent down. Barney Frank actually spent $200,000 of his own money, so that when we go into 2012, we're not giving them much time to be able to build that sucker up.
Well, believe it or not, he's going to get it from his buddy in the bank.
I don't think he's going to get as much as you think.
John, last question?
No, I was just going to make a comment that, which basically that you had touched on, is that as frustrated as I was the night of the election after I had about a day to think about it, let's say the seawall was much higher here in Massachusetts than a lot of us perceived it, and there was a comment made a few minutes ago about the lack of support in the Republican Party, and because basically the organization of the Republican Party doesn't exist. I mean, the first time that I've ever seen the woman who runs it on television was this morning. I haven't seen her on television ever before. I mean, the first time I ever saw her was this morning. But the great thing is, just like you commented on, they had to spend an awful lot of money in this state to win that they didn't get to spend in other states. And for the first time, I got to say, I mean, I hadn't paid attention for a lot of years, but I would say for decades, the first time that in this state the congressional people didn't start spending money and giving it to other campaigns across the country, they were giving it to these guys to try to stay in. So that was a huge victory when you really think about that. And the other thing, too, is we just have to get better organized. You can't wait till 6 months before a campaign. Right. I mean, take a deep breath for the holidays, whatever you celebrate, but in January, get going. Yeah. You know, plain and simple. And the other thing that has to be done is that the independents, Tea Party, whatever you want to call it, have to move towards the Republican Party. The Republican Party needs to move towards the independents. Otherwise, it's never going to happen, because when you look at the districts, especially in the way they're designed in congressional, and we have to pay attention to what's happening in the redistricting, there's no way a Republican win. You just look at the demographics, it's impossible. And for the average congressional candidate getting 43% with the way those districts are laid out, that was amazing. So the first thing that needs to happen is the Republican office needs to be out of Boston and gets out to 495 or whatever.
Thank you. Well, now we'll just move on to our next question. If you could do it all over again, what would you do differently? I guess the biggest lesson learned coming out of this whole thing. And my big thing would be an emphasis on the local level. I mean, we reached out a little bit with the local forums and all that, but we didn't. We had a few moments where we hit the street. We were involved in each individual campaign, so we did show some support that way. But I would have liked to have some more Tea Party events, bigger Tea Party events out in this area, and that's to go on the perception of the Tea Party being a little bit more to it than share a funny experience with that. I had a funny situation. I was in the gym, and I actually was looking across the gym, and there was a TV all the way in the back, and all I could see was kind of a crowd of people, an American flag, and a sign. I was like, oh, let's probably talk about the Tea Party there somewhere. So, and that seems to be the common perception. And what I'd like to do differently, or what I would have done differently this past thing, is trying to reach out to the public a little bit more of the Twin City area and kind of show them that that's not just us, you know what I mean? Like we are comprised of like neighbors and friends, as opposed to just a mob of people holding flags and signs, you know what I mean? And I think once we start reaching out that way, I think that's where we're going to make our biggest gains. You know, at the very least, we might not get them in here to come to meetings, but at least what they'll do is they'll start looking at the Tea Party and be like, hey, wow, you know what, that is a group that I can relate to, and listen to the message on the TV at that point.
Well, if we could do it all over again, there's a few things that I think we've all talked about, and that's one of is education and word of mouth. And one way that we recently discussed that we could really get that out there is attending more of your local town hall meetings, your school committee meetings, and representing yourself and announcing, I'm Tanya Brooks, I'm Greater Gardner Tea Party, and I have a question for you. So they'll see that I'm a normal looking person, I'm not some outraged, crazy person running around, and I have concerns for my local town as well, my community, not just, the state, just keeping it more local and working it from that level. The other thing that we did discuss, and we are going to do, I recommend to anybody else as well, is to have local events in your town, whether you're doing a trash day, and advertise, hey, this Tea Party's getting together and we're working on X, Y, and Z street and we're going to be out picking up trash today. That way the community sees this as a positive outlook, not a negative. And then you have your flower boxes that you can keep up with yourself and advertise your name. Along with you have your triangle patches throughout different areas of your town so that you can work on that little patch of green and keep it nice and pretty so the town, when they're driving by in the cars, they're going to say, wow, that's so-and-so Tea Party. I wonder who they are. They're doing something nice for the community. And it's just to change the mindset that we have right now, that people look at us, that we are more concerned and more caring and not some outraged group. It's just we want to see a change so we can have a positive future for our children.
You took what I was going to say. But in addition to just giving you some ideas of some of the stuff that we've been doing, there was in Southbridge, there is I think it's Sturbridge actually, Public House. It's a beautiful big old restaurant. And they had one of their employees that is suffering from lung cancer, and they had a complete turkey dinner, and it was all donated to the family, any of the money. We went as a group and individuals, identifying ourselves as the Knox Trail Tea Party, to show up to support this community involvement in donations for this family who didn't have insurance. And they're struggling, and I thought it was excellent of the restaurant to donate the service and the meal. All of the money that went in for the tickets went directly to the family, and that was awesome. So so we too are going to be going to. We're changing our meeting night because Tuesday is the night that most of our local town selectmen and so forth get together. So we're changing our meeting night to be able to attend those local meetings and just let them know that we're interested in what's going on all levels and want to help, want to do things, community activities, whatever they've got going on in the town. We want to be able to pitch in and help as well. Our group was involved with the 350th anniversary of the Quabog Plantation. It was held in West Brookfield. Excuse me, we stood around for 4 hours until we got in line. It was a very long parade, but it was awesome. There were people that were standing up, they were applauding as we went by, all except for the bandstand who didn't announce us. But they'll get to learn who we are. We'll make sure that they know who we are next, like the 400th. But to be able to get out into the community as much as we can, even as small groups, just to get involved with things that are going on, not only politically, but community involvement as well. Scouts, whatever, it doesn't matter. Just get out there and let them know that we're out there. Get the name out there. Have everybody that understands who we are educate others as to who we are, and bring a buddy, to the meeting. I did that, and with a friend that I had been trying to get her to come to the meeting forever. She's not only involved, she's bought buttons, t-shirts, I mean, she's just right there now, does the standouts, everything. So that, if you know anybody in the American Legion, the VFW, anything like that, the auxiliaries will give credits for belonging to the VFW where they are, but by getting involved with the Tea Party and the involvements that's going on, they get credit for it.